quickly, the shortlist, because again, like all these positions, some cracking players, isn't there?
There is, and from the shortlist, I've gone right back to the 30s again, with a guy called Harold Haley, who played from 1932 to 1948. 338 appearances, 11 tries, three drop goals, for a total of 39 points. A one club man. We've had a few of them over the years, and it was obviously part of 1935 Challenge Cup winning side. Um, he was also part of the Yorkshire League winning squad of 32 and 32, 33 and 38, 39. And he actually got a Yorkshire cap as well in a 10-10 draw with Lancashire.
Great stuff. 16 years at the club. That's takes some
Yeah.
doing, doesn't it? It takes some doing.
We come jump 30 years ahead for the next one. And I've gone for Clive Dickinson. So obviously Clive played in both the 69 and 70 Cup finals. Joint club in 1963 and left in 1975, went on to Hull KR. For Cassie, had 328 appearances, 29 tries, and one goal for a total of 89 points. Two Floodlit Trophy wins, two Challenge Cups, Yorkshire League win, six caps for Yorkshire, and a lot of our hopefully a lot of the listeners will remember him because he worked at Ixon's for a lot of years and was a well respected supervisor there. I know a few people who worked with Clive and always had great things to say about him.
Absolutely. Who's next on this list?
The one that followed him really, and that's Bob Spur. 323 appearances, 45 tries for 135 points. Key member at side through 70s and into 80s. He signed for the club in 1968, initially as a scrum half, but really went on to make his name as an hooker. Left in 1983 when he went to Featherstone. Bob was hooker in the Floodlit Trophy win in 1976-77. John Player Trophy win and two Yorkshire Cup wins as well. Went on to appear for over 100 times for Featherstone as well, and then finished his career with a couple of appearances at Bradford. Really hard working number nine, and it was typical of the nines through the 70s. People like Keith Elwell, where they looked a bit scruffy, shirt were always hanging out of the shorts, hair got all over the place, but proper tackling machines, and a bit of a runner from acting halfback as well. We move on again. It's like succession planning.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
because the next one I've picked is Kevin Beardmore. And sadly, Kevin passed away a few years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, and it was a real shock because I've known Kevin pretty well over them years. 247 appearances and 80 tries, which is an amazing return for a
Great
number.
record.
And he telepathic understanding with their Bob. Obviously, hooker in the 1986 Challenge Cup final, when we beat Hull KR 15-14. Yorkshire Cup final win against Hull the following season when he scored two tries and picked up the White Rose Trophy as man of the match. Three Yorkshire caps, one for England and 14 Great Britain caps as well, and a tourist in 1988 when he went as first choice, played in a couple of tests in against Australia and then got injured and missed the final test where we beat them, and the famous Henderson Gill try and what have you.
Phenomenal. Yeah, I think between him and his brother, obviously been mentioned on previous episodes, a name just synonymous with Cass, isn't it, Beardmore?
It is, absolutely.
Fantastic to see him on this list.
And we jump in again, sort of up to someone who joined the club in 2011. Only with us for 3 years, unfortunately, and it's well documented the reasons why he had to leave. But it's Daryl Clark, 94 appearances, 37 tries for a total of 148 points. So just like Kev, prolific try scorer from number nine shirt. Left for 185,000 to join Warrington, and it was reported at the time that saved the club.
Yeah.
2014, he was Man of Steel, young player at year, played at Wembley, and then obviously he's gone on to have a fantastic career with Warrington and Saints subsequently. Played for England Knights, 16 appearances for England full side with 2 tries, and also played for Great Britain twice, and scoring a try in that.
Yeah,
So
phenomenal player, phenomenal player. I think with Daz as well. He's one of those players I've kind of speculated before, and the fact we're signing a 35-year-old hooker for next season suggests that it probably will never happen. But it's always been a shame, hasn't it? I've always kind of wondered whether he'd round off his career, Daz, at Cas.
yeah,
The thing with Daz as well, obviously, is he spent most of his career away from the club, obviously, but he had such an impact in those 3 years, and
yeah,
he's a Cas fan, isn't he?
yeah,
He's evidently a Cas fan. He's unashamedly so. So it'd be a shame if he never kind of associates with the club again.
yeah.
Who knows? Who knows?
He couldn't be much else, could he? Being a Fryston lad, could he?
No, no, no. It's in the blood, isn't it?
And then making up the shortlist is somebody who probably I don't know how to say it. I don't want to sound disrespectful when I say that, but probably looked like he was finished when he left, and as a full time player. And it's Paul McShane. Um, Joined us in 2015 in that amazing deal of the century with Scott Morgan of Wakefield. How they pulled that off, I don't know. Dick Turpin must have been involved in that because it was an absolute robbery, wasn't it?
It was.
Um, he, but he'd probably got a reputation of being a bit of a journeyman. He'd had a lot of clubs,
Yeah,
through loan spells here and there, and he'd had spells at Leeds, Old Widnes, Hunslet, Wakey before he came to Cass. 223 appearances, 31 tries, 69 goals, and a couple of drop goals for a total of 264 points. Obviously, unlucky not to win Man of Steel in 2018, I think it was, and then 2020 went on to win Man of Steel, and obviously part of that fantastic 2017 side, an instrumental part of that 2017 side. We've talked
yeah,
before, haven't we, about the number, the positions that we had the best in the league, and number 9 were one of them, because Macca what best in the league at that season.
100%. You start. I think the ultimate testament to Maka as well. I know we're talking about Cass, and obviously our team of the century, but you led off there by saying he looked like a player that was finished by the end because he'd given it all to Cass.
Yeah,
Obviously, had those injuries towards the back end. I mean, this will give away when we're recording this, but I watched him last night. He's not finished. He looks
yeah,
incredible now, doesn't he? I mean, he's
yeah,
37, I think. I mean, his rugby brain is tip top, isn't it? Absolutely phenomenal.
yeah, absolutely. And if you go back a couple of weeks, if he plays for us with his
Yeah,
that night, I'm absolutely convinced of it. He ran the show. Um, he's like you say, his rugby IQ, his rugby brain, won that game for York. And and I think, as I say, if he'd have played for Cass that night, we would have probably got the 2 points.
100%. A lot of love for Maka around the cast fan base, that is for sure. Another exceptional shortlist. Another exceptional shortlist. Again, another one I wouldn't want to make the call on, but that's your job. So, who are you going to make the call on? Who is the hooker in this team, Graham?
It's me, mate. It's Kevin Beardmore. I think if we put together this front row of Kevin Beardmore at 9 with Dennis Hartley and Kevin Ward at either side of him,
Hmm.
and I just think that goes down as an all-time great.
Yeah.
Front row wherever you go. We talked on previous podcasts when we've done different teams, and for me, Kevin was like one of the first of what's become the modern 9, where great support play, strong runner, prolific try scorer, and you've got likes of Kevin in this country, and I got an Australian hooker at Widnes called Phil McKenzie, who was similar, and then you got doing the same sort of thing in Australia. You've got somebody like Benny Elias, and
Yeah.
and they those three I always think are like the blueprint for what the 9 shirt has evolved into. So yeah, like I said, absolutely gutted when I heard that he'd passed away, and I attended his funeral. It was like an who's who. You could have picked the right side from those
Yeah.
that were in, that were at the funeral that day. But yeah, he. If I'm picking a best side of the players that I've watched, it's a toss up who gets down named first, him or John Joyner for me.